There is a secret movement, a movement so simple, yet so powerful, that it can unlock the oldest power within your body in just seconds. This is not myth. This is not fantasy. It comes from the work of Jacobo Grinberg, a scientist who dared to study the mysteries of consciousness. His story is hidden, almost erased, yet his discoveries hold a key that can change the way you see reality itself. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is not what you find in textbooks or in the mainstream. It is the story of a man who bridged science and ancient wisdom, and what he found may be the reason he vanished without a trace. Jacobo Grinberg was not just another researcher. He devoted his life to exploring the invisible threads of consciousness. He wanted to prove that our mind is not locked inside the brain, but instead connected to a vast network, a lattice that shapes reality itself. Imagine reality not as something fixed, but as a living field, shaped and influenced by your perception, by your attention, by your movement. This was the heart of his Syntergic theory, and it suggested that what we call real is far more flexible than we ever imagined. He believed that the brain is not only a receiver of information, but also a projector of reality. And this meant something extraordinary. You are not simply watching the world, you are helping create it. Now here is where the secret movement comes in. Grinberg's studies with shamans and healers revealed that certain movements, combined with awareness, can trigger instant shifts in perception. These movements awaken the body's memory of ancient power, power that is not taught, but already within you, waiting to be activated. Think of it like flipping a hidden switch. One small act, and your nervous system lights up. Your body responds with tingling, warmth, and flow. This is not just energy, it is communication with the lattice itself.
Why is this so important?
Because if reality is shaped by the lattice, and if your body can connect to it, then even the smallest movement can open doors to profound transformation. This is why you should watch till the very end of this video. You are not here by chance. You are here because something within you is ready to remember, ready to wake up. And by the time this video ends, you will know how one subtle movement can unlock that connection, and why Jacobo Grinberg's work still matters today. But there is also suspense in his story. Jacobo Grinberg disappeared in 1994. No body was ever found. No clear answers were given. Some say he was silenced. Others believe he stepped into another dimension, proving his theories with his own life. Whatever the truth, his research remains, and those who dare to study it find a roadmap to powers hidden inside every human being. Powers that modern science still struggles to explain. He spent years with shamans in Mexico, documenting miracles that most would call impossible. He saw healers close wounds with their hands. He saw people change the perception of time itself. He recorded phenomena that seemed to defy physics, and he looked for the bridge between science and spirit, between the measurable and the mystical. That bridge was movement, intention, and consciousness working as one. Now ask yourself, what if the power to heal, to create, to transform has always been inside you? What if it takes only one act, one shift, to feel it? This is what makes his work so unique. It's not about complex rituals. It's not about years of training. It is about remembering what your body already knows. A secret movement that unlocks the oldest power within seconds. Stay with me, because in this video we will uncover what that movement is, how it works, and why it may be the missing key to unlocking your potential. This is not just knowledge for the mind. It is an experience for your whole being. By the end, you will not only understand Jacobo Grinberg's vision, you will feel its echo in your own body. And so, take a deep breath. Allow curiosity to guide you. The answers you seek may not come from outside, but from within. Jacobo's legacy is not just in his books or in the theories he left behind. His true legacy lives in the human ability to awaken, to move, to connect. And now, it is your turn to step into that field of possibility. Welcome to Awakened Synchronicity. If you are ready to explore hidden truths, awaken forgotten powers, and discover the science behind ancient wisdom. You are in the right place. Subscribe now. Join this journey and let us walk together into the mystery Jacobo Grinberg devoted his life to. The secret is waiting, the movement is calling, and it begins right now. Before we talk about the secret movement that can unlock the oldest power within your body, we need to talk about the man who uncovered its meaning. His name was Jacobo Grinberg, and his story is unlike any other. He was not only a scientist, not only a dreamer, but someone who lived at the crossroads of two worlds, the measurable and the mystical. To understand why this movement matters, you must first understand him, because his life and research carried the clues to powers hidden deep within every human being. Jacobo Grinberg was born in Mexico City in 1946. His path into consciousness research began from a very personal wound. When he was just 12 years old, his mother died. Her loss opened in him a question so deep that it never left him. What is life? And what happens when it ends? Most children move on, distracted by school and play, but Jacobo could not. He wanted answers. He wanted to see beyond what ordinary eyes could see. That moment, painful as it was, planted the seed for his destiny. As he grew, his curiosity did not fade. Unlike others who accepted the world as it was, Jacobo wanted to explore the invisible side of life. He studied psychology at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, where he started to look at the brain not just as an organ, but as a doorway. He believed that inside the folds of the mind there was something more, something capable of touching reality itself. Later, he traveled to the United States, completing advanced studies in psychophysiology at New York University. He had all the tools of science in his hands, but unlike many of his colleagues, he was not satisfied with numbers and statistics alone. He wanted to bring science to the threshold of the unknown. Before we talk about his theories, you should know how daring he was. While many researchers avoided subjects like mysticism, shamanism, and psychic phenomena, Jacobo ran toward them. He understood that true knowledge could not come only from laboratories and textbooks. It had to come from experience, from immersion, from looking at the world through different eyes. This is why he spent time with Mexican shamans. He did not see them as primitive, but as carriers of ancient wisdom that modern society had forgotten. Where others saw superstition, he saw opportunity for discovery. He began to develop what later became known as his Syntergic Theory. This was not just another academic idea. It was a bold attempt to explain how consciousness interacts with reality. According to Jacobo, reality is not fixed. Instead, it is like a hologram, projected by a vast network that he called the lattice. The brain does not simply receive images of the world. It works with this lattice to generate the experience of reality itself. This means that what you perceive is not just out there, it is shaped by the structure of your consciousness. Think about what that means. If your brain and consciousness can project reality, then reality can be changed. If you shift your attention, your beliefs, your inner state, then the world you live in begins to shift as well. This was the heart of Jacobo's work. He wanted to prove that miracles, psychic phenomena, and extraordinary human abilities were not fantasy, but natural possibilities hidden within the structure of consciousness itself. Before we talk about the secret movement that activates this power, we have to look at the way Jacobo searched for proof. He did not stop at theory. He built laboratories. He conducted experiments with subjects who claimed to have psychic abilities. He worked with healers who could alter physical conditions without tools or medicine. Some of these experiments showed people influencing brain activity in others, even at a distance. Others showed synchronization between minds as if two people were sharing one consciousness. To Jacobo, these results pointed to one thing: the lattice was real, and human beings could interact with it. One of his most fascinating explorations was with shamans like Pashita, a healer from Mexico, who performed what seemed to be impossible surgeries. Witnesses described how she could remove diseased organs with her bare hands and then replace them with new ones, which appeared out of nowhere. Jacobo observed these events carefully, documenting them as part of his research. While the medical establishment dismissed such stories, he believed they revealed hidden laws of consciousness. He thought Pashita was tapping into the lattice, altering reality at its deepest level. But Jacobo was not only looking at shamans, he also studied meditation, telepathy, altered states, and the role of intention. He wanted to map the full range of human potential. He believed that the power to shape reality was not reserved for a chosen few. It lived in all of us. It was simply dormant, waiting to be awakened. This is where the idea of simple movements and awareness came in. Through these practices, the body and mind could align with the lattice, creating openings for extraordinary experiences. Before we move on, it's important to understand how radical this was. In the scientific world of the late 20th century, most researchers stayed far away from these subjects. They feared ridicule, loss of funding, or being labeled as pseudoscientists. But Jacobo was fearless. He stood alone, bridging the gap between science and shamanic wisdom. He saw no contradiction. To him, both were necessary. Science provided the methods. Shamanism provided the wisdom. Together they could reveal truths hidden behind the veil of ordinary perception. He wrote more than 50 books, each one diving deeper into the mysteries of consciousness. His works covered everything from the psychology of vision to the spiritual traditions of Mexico, from neurophysiology to the metaphysics of reality. He was prolific, driven, unstoppable, and yet, despite his vast contribution, his name is still not widely known. Part of this is because of the way he disappeared, and part is because his ideas challenge the very foundation of how society defines reality. To accept his findings is to accept that reality is not solid, not fixed, but fluid, malleable, alive and influenced by consciousness. Before we talk about the practical side of his discoveries, remember this: Jacobo Grinberg's journey was not just academic. It was personal. It began with the loss of his mother, but it became the search for the ultimate truth. He wanted to heal the wound that death had left in him, and in doing so, he uncovered possibilities that point to life beyond what we can see. His work continues to inspire those who are willing to step outside the limits of conventional thinking. Jacobo's life teaches us that the answers to the biggest questions are not found only in books or machines. They are also found in the body, in movement, in intention, and in the direct experience of consciousness. He showed us that by bridging science and shamanic wisdom, we can begin to remember who we truly are and what we are capable of. And it is in that remembering, in that awakening, that the secret movement begins to make sense. It is not a trick. It is not magic. It is the echo of an ancient truth, carried through time, waiting to be discovered again. What Jacobo Grinberg discovered was not ordinary science. He was not satisfied with studying the brain as a machine of cells and neurons. He looked deeper, asking questions most scientists avoided. What is reality? How does the mind interact with it? Is reality outside of us, or is it shaped by what happens inside of us? His answers shook the foundation of how we normally see the world. He proposed that reality is not solid, not fixed, but holographic. He described a kind of holographic matrix, an invisible field where information is stored, exchanged, and projected. The brain, he believed, does not only receive reality like a passive observer, it is active. It helps create reality by projecting patterns onto this holographic field. Imagine for a moment that the world you see is not complete by itself. It needs your perception to take form. Your eyes, your brain, your consciousness are not just witnesses, they are creators. Jacobo explained that this matrix acts like a web, connecting all things. Within it, The brain takes signals and impressions, then builds what we call experience. In other words, you do not simply look at the world, you participate in its unfolding. This was the radical essence of his discovery. He called the invisible structure that holds this holographic reality the lattice. According to him, the lattice is the fundamental fabric of existence. It is not visible to the eye, but it is everywhere, binding energy, matter, and thought into one living whole. Consciousness, when tuned correctly, can link to this lattice, and when it does, something extraordinary happens. The rigid rules of time and space begin to bend. What we call impossible starts to emerge as real possibilities. Jacobo's Syntergic Theory explained how this works. Syntergy, a word he coined, described the interaction between the brain's internal maps and the external lattice. When both are aligned, perception expands. When perception expands, reality itself can change. This theory was not only on paper. Jacobo tested it by studying phenomena that most scientists would dismiss. He sought evidence in the places where the ordinary world breaks down. He spent years with shamans, healers, and people with unusual abilities. He recorded events that sounded like myths, but he approached them with the careful eye of a researcher. For example, he observed cases where shamans performed surgeries without instruments, opening the body with their hands, removing diseased organs, and somehow materializing new ones in their place. Witnesses reported that the patients healed, scars disappeared, and new organs functioned normally. One of the most famous healers Jacobo studied was Pachita, a woman in Mexico who performed such operations regularly. In her ceremonies, she would call upon a spiritual presence she named Quayothem. With his guidance, she would cut open a patient, extract an organ, and then materialize a new one out of thin air. The surgeries were done in small, simple rooms, without anesthesia, without medical tools, and yet many survived and healed. Jacobo was there, documenting these moments, trying to understand how such things were possible. For him, Pachita was not a magician or a fraud. She was an example of what happens when consciousness links deeply with the lattice. She reached into that invisible structure where all forms already exist and brought them into material reality. Jacobo also studied telepathy, remote perception, and the strange synchronization between minds. In his experiments, two people would sit in separate rooms. One person would be shown an image, while the other, without any communication, would report seeing similar shapes or patterns. The brain activity of both subjects often showed a kind of mirroring, as if they were connected beyond distance. This pointed again to the lattice, a shared field where information flowed silently between minds. To Jacobo, this meant consciousness was not trapped in the skull. It extended, reaching into the fabric of the world. His studies revealed again and again that miracles were not violations of nature. They were expressions of a deeper level of nature, hidden from ordinary sight. Shamans could heal without tools because they worked directly with the lattice. Telepaths could share thoughts because they tuned into the holographic field. People could bend time or change matter because consciousness was not bound by the limits we are taught to believe. All of this leads us to the movement. Jacobo discovered that the body itself holds a way to touch this hidden energy. The movement he spoke of was not complex or theatrical. It was subtle, almost secret, a simple shift, a gesture, a way of aligning body and awareness that allowed consciousness to link more fully with the lattice. When performed with intention, this movement activated the hidden connection. It was like striking a key that instantly opens a door. In that moment, the lattice responded and power flowed. The effect could be felt immediately. People reported tingling, waves of warmth, and even altered states of awareness. It was as if the body suddenly remembered something ancient, something long buried in the human story. This memory was not intellectual. It was physical, visceral, undeniable. The movement reawakened the bond between consciousness and the lattice, And once that bond was active, change could happen in seconds. Jacobo described this as a return to original knowledge. He believed that humanity once lived closer to the lattice, more aware of its presence. Over time, through culture and conditioning, we forgot the secret movement was a way to remember. It bypassed the noise of the mind, the endless chatter of thought, and spoke directly to the body's connection with reality. In that instant, the boundary between inner and outer blurred, and the creative power of consciousness could flow freely. He linked this discovery to practices found in ancient traditions, movements in shamanic rituals, gestures in meditation, even certain postures in sacred ceremonies. All of them hinted at the same truth. They were not random. They were technologies of consciousness, designed to activate the lattice. Jacobo saw a unifying principle behind them, that movement, when joined with awareness, could alter reality itself. To many, these claims sounded impossible. But Jacobo reminded his readers and students that impossibility is only a limit of perception. If reality is holographic, then what we experience as solid is just a projection, a pattern on the lattice. Change the pattern, and the projection changes too. The movement is one way to shift the pattern, and when the pattern shifts, your life, your body, and even the world around you can transform. The brilliance of Jacobo's work is that it gave language to what mystics and shamans had practiced for centuries. He did not dismiss their wisdom. Instead, he translated it into theories and models that could be discussed in scientific terms. The holographic matrix, the lattice, Syntergic Theory, these were his attempts to make the invisible visible, to show that the miraculous was not outside the reach of human understanding. What he discovered was dangerous to the ordinary view of reality. If consciousness could shape space-time, if movements could unlock hidden powers, then the entire structure of science, medicine, and society would have to change. That may be one reason why his story ended the way it did. But his discoveries remain, passed on through his books, his students, and the experiences of those who practice the movement. Jacobo revealed that reality is far more open than we think, and that the keys to unlocking it are already within us, waiting to be used. It is just one small movement. At first glance, it looks ordinary, almost too simple to matter. And yet, within its simplicity lies a force that can shift everything. Jacobo Grinberg understood that power is not always found in complexity. Sometimes the most profound changes happen through the smallest of actions. The movement he pointed to was not about strength or speed. It was not about control or effort. It was about alignment, a subtle shift of body and awareness that awakens what is already hidden inside. The effect is fast, immediate, and breathtaking. One moment you feel ordinary, the next you feel connected to something vast, something ancient. When you perform the movement with calm focus, the body begins to respond in ways you cannot ignore. There is no need for force. You do not have to strain or try hard. You simply allow the action to happen with full attention. As you do, sensations start to rise. A warmth in your chest, a tingle in your hands, a current moving through your spine. Some feel it as a gentle vibration, others feel it like a wave of heat. Whatever the form, the energy is real, alive, and undeniable. It is the lattice responding to your intention. It is consciousness linking back to the field that sustains reality. The secret lies in how you approach it. If you rush, you miss it. If you doubt, you block it. But if you stay calm, focused, and open, the body remembers, and this memory is the key. Jacobo explained that the body is not just flesh and bone. It is a living archive of ancient knowledge. Within its cells, its nerves, its very structure, it holds the memory of connection. Even if the mind forgets, the body does not. That is why this movement works so quickly. You are not learning something new, you are remembering something timeless. Think of it like a melody you once knew. You may not recall the whole song, but when the first notes play, the rest comes back instantly. The movement is that first note. The body hears it, and immediately recalls the rest. It remembers how to flow with the lattice, how to open to energy, how to awaken power. That is why people who practice it often describe the experience as familiar, even if they have never done it before. It feels like coming home to a part of yourself that has been waiting all along. The body listens because it is already tuned to the field. Every heartbeat, every breath, every pulse of life inside you is in rhythm with the lattice. What breaks the rhythm is not the body, but the mind. The endless noise of thought, the distraction of daily life, the belief that you are separate from the world. All of this drowns out the natural harmony. The movement cuts through the noise. It bypasses thought and speaks directly to the body's memory. The moment you do it, the body responds and the lattice awakens. Jacobo believed this was not magic, but natural law. Just as a key fits a lock, the movement fits the body's design. It triggers what is already built inside, and when the lock opens, energy flows freely. This flow is not just physical, it is emotional, mental, and spiritual all at once. It is the whole being remembering its true nature. The body listens because it has always been listening, waiting for the signal to awaken. As the energy moves, you realize something powerful. You are not just a body, you are consciousness, vast and unbound, using the body as a bridge. The movement reveals this truth in the most direct way. Suddenly you feel yourself as more than flesh. You feel yourself as awareness, as presence, as something that cannot be reduced to cells or chemicals. You realize that what you are is part of the lattice itself. You are both the projector and the projection. You are the one who shapes and the one who experiences the shaping. This is where the true unlocking happens. The moment you see yourself as consciousness, your relationship with reality changes. You are no longer trapped in the idea that life happens to you. You begin to sense that life happens through you. The power you feel is not foreign. It is not given by someone else. It is already within, waiting to be used. The movement simply reminds you of what you have always been capable of. When this realization dawns, even the smallest experiences feel transformed. A breath feels alive, a thought feels creative, a touch feels connected to something larger. The movement opens a channel, and through it, the world appears brighter, more fluid, more open. You begin to see how your inner state reflects outward, shaping what you call reality. The holographic matrix responds to your awareness, and your awareness responds to the matrix. It is a dance, and you are both dancer and music. The beauty of Jacobo's insight is that it shows how accessible this power is. You do not need rituals that last hours. You do not need years of training in a hidden monastery. You do not need permission from anyone outside yourself. All you need is the willingness to move with focus, to let the body remember, to allow consciousness to flow. The ancient force does the rest. Many who experienced this under Jacobo's guidance reported profound changes. Some felt sudden clarity, as if years of confusion fell away in seconds. Others felt physical healing, pain dissolving as energy returned to balance. Some described visions, glimpses of realities beyond ordinary perception. What united all of them was the feeling of awakening. Not a dream, not an illusion, but a direct encounter with their own inner power. This is why Jacobo insisted that the movement was both simple and profound. On the surface, it may look like nothing special, but beneath the surface, it unlocks the door to the deepest truths of existence. It shows you that you are more than a collection of habits and thoughts. You are a creator, a participant in the holographic dance of reality. And once you feel this, even for a moment, you can never forget it. The body listens because it was made to listen. It is a vessel for consciousness, a living bridge to the lattice. The movement speaks in the language the body understands, and when it hears, it answers with energy, warmth, and life. What follows is not something that can be taught in words alone. It must be felt, lived, experienced. That is the gift Jacobo pointed to. That is the power that lies hidden in a simple action waiting to be awakened by you. One simple movement, ancient power, instant shift. This is not just theory. It is an invitation. The moment you try it, you will feel what has always been waiting inside you. The force that shapes reality is not far away. It is already within your body, ready to awaken. All it takes is one step, one gesture, one moment of focus. If this message resonated with you, give this video a like and share it with someone who is ready to remember their own power. And don't forget to subscribe to Awaken Synchronicity, where we uncover the hidden truths of Jacobo Grinberg and explore the mysteries that can transform your life. Your journey is just beginning.